ethical psychology. We want freedom, but we got to find out the basis of who we are, true self. So that's the one problem with psychology. The good psychology is using Erickson's hypnosis, using uh, EFT tapping, using neurolinguistics, finding you, teaching meditation, teaching yoga. I know therapists around here using yoga to ground you. I use Reiki. I use energy healing. I use essential oils. I give you crystals I add to them. So you find you. So I'm a new age. I'm just going back to some of the Vedic stuff. Get you into nutrition because that's a part of health. And there is a science to all of this. But I'm not going to go around and teach your personal sexual shame. I don't get into that. What you do in the bedroom is you. That's not freedom. I don't tell you that you can't believe in what you believe in. I don't think that's fair. I can take you back to who you are. Because that's the problem with the whole darn system. We can't change you. You are you. And that's what makes the world so beautiful. The individual, if you're gay, transgender, we have no right to change you. We have a right to really get you down to the basics of how you developed. So that's a bit of Jungian, a bit of Buddhism, a bit of Buddhist psychology. Erickson's great. It breaks addictions. EFT tapping can be used in many ways. Emotional freedom technique. There is an illness. It's called phobia. You know what a phobia is? It's an unreasoned fear, and it'll keep you trapped. I was a horseman, and I had a lot of fears. Trying to jump fences, and I can remember the first few jumps. Yeah, you fall off, but you minimize the fear. I've seen people stuck, not moving on when situations aren't healthy for them, marriages, and when to call it and when to quit. You gotta know your true self. Your parents loved you, but they might have had a wrong type of psychology for you. Like things backfire. My father, for example, is personal, but my father used the psychology of really making me feel I'm stupid. I don't have any brains. And I started, this is what I do. I get people to journal if these things serve you. Do I hate my father? No, it was just, he had a wrong model. He thought I would be better. It's negative psychology. But we can go too far and baby a person, make them dependent on us. We don't want a dependency. And I know that's the way what happened in my family. My father was just blatantly would be really caring about us boys. And he would come out with really stolid things that were good about earning a living. And he lived through hard times. He was a military soldier. And he taught me respect. He didn't whip me. Never had to. But, the other brothers wouldn't listen to him. It's a personal story. But I want you to relate to this. They wouldn't listen to him. So they got really soft with their kids. Oh, that's mean. That's mean. Babying children is not good. They make them dangerous. They make them dependent on taking money off the family. And they were living online with the echo chamber, and that's another thing I think psychology should offer to get you offline and get you using technology to be your friend, not your control. Because I'm hearing young Gen Z's generation saying, "Do you feel the control?" No. Well, there is a control. These systems are controlling you. You got to turn it around. That you control the computer. I'm talking to you. Nobody's in control of me, really, if I don't say anything inappropriately. And that's my issue. There's nothing wrong with psychology. There's nothing wrong with trauma-based therapy if the therapist is trained to handle the empathy. I've heard therapists come to me, "I can't do this anymore." Military trauma therapy, it's another school and it's another technique. And that takes the therapist working on themselves. I do cranial sacral on horses. You know, that takes a lot of practice for me to feel the cranial, the fluids, and takes practice. A doctor with a stethoscope learns how to listen. So these things are a school where the therapist has to be really immersed with things. To do Erickson hypnosis is a skill. And see, my legs are crossed. Yeah, I got to be ethical. I could say, uncross your legs to a woman. That's inappropriate. So we say, put both feet on the floor, please, to ground you. You know, we don't want to get sexually inappropriate. And then we learn our vocal techniques of talking to you and bring you into a state of hypnosis, not to sound like a chicken or control you. We're just taking you into a space where your subconscious can link into relaxation and moving positive affirmations, make you feel things that doing something like eating right and exercising right or getting out of these trauma zones could really help you. There's a physical component to this. If we're in constant anxiety, our cortisol levels are high. So we get all sorts of diseases. We get our bodies locked down with post-traumatic stress. A lot of soldiers have that. But we can get them out of it. The autonomic nervous system will lock a veteran down. They don't need to be in wheelchairs if we can work on fixing the lockdown of the mind. It's just out of kilter. When you go through trauma, I'm looking at this therapist, local therapist, I agree with her. I use Kundalini, I use Krudaki Reiki, and I use essential oils and anything that'll shift you. And I studied the whole technique of using regulated CBD oil with a combination of minimal THC, conservative, so you can get to sleep at night. Because I'll tell you one thing, if you're in a state of trauma, we can't work with you. And I hear a lot of people demonize completely. I demonize a commodity market, recreational weed. I really do it, and I see a problem with it. But there's a good marijuana producer, cannabis producer. I've talked to doctors of medical marijuana. They're licensed, and they are getting results with people. And I kept on trying to understand this. CBD relaxes you, with a little THC. I saw these people going out. I was at the laundromat and they're going to smoke some weed. I said, is that recreational? No, it's medical. He's 32 years old and he's been cancer free for 3 years. So what's going on? It's lowering the cortisol level, letting him recover. Now, to regulate it and give you the right dosage. I've heard a lot of rubbish and ivory tower stuff going against the medical CBD. And it's just this ivory tower medicine stuff that's got to really end. I talked to a medical marijuana doctor in Toronto, and he said these vials are I can get 4 vials for $60. So I studied all this, and I took it online. I'm not a medical marijuana doctor that regulates the CBD level. They are, but I work with them, and they are a registered medical practitioner. They're not anything else. And we were getting results with it, and it's military we get results with. Is it wrong? Well, no, I don't think so. But you got to be careful what they're saying. They generalize the medical system. And what they say is not factual. I do agree to the medical system. I'm just going to put some food on. But the whole system, it shouldn't be that way. And if you're taking CBD, you're taking it under your tongue. I'll come back. It's sort of rude to walk away. You're taking it under your tongue. Sorry, I'm a little hungry. Gotta be more focused. You're taking CBD under your tongue at a regulated dose, and you're being monitored by a doctor. Okay, I can blend in a little bit of essential oils, which will help you. We can use other modalities, but it's a start point. Instead of throwing really toxic drugs at you, which a lot of veterans hate now, they don't want those. Police are using them, And I looked this up because my doctor says it's all bad for you. So I fired her. I did. I don't need her. I'm listening to another doctor saying it's good. There was a medical marijuana clinic here. Yeah. What happened to it? Well, it went away. But I know a woman here, she has an essential oil shop, and she gets a medical marijuana doctor. She's got a couple of vials. I don't know how good they are. But I might call the medical marijuana in at the place and order some from Canada. I can get these vials are about, no, help me sleep. There's a lot of misinformation out there that we need to use tools. Niacin was demonized. Dr. Abraham Hoffer, a psychiatrist, that came up with the molecular biological structure of niacin. Well, it was curing a lot of illnesses like bipolarity and stuff, and depression. And the level of niacin is very high, so you go into the little rashes and everything. But is it as bad as some of those psychotropics that we use? No, and it gets results. One result was Margaret Kidder. She was bipolar. Superman's Lois Lane. She was found on the streets of Calgary. You get walking away, you're manic. Well, Dr. Abraham Hoffer came on there and they showed her results. He says, this is what medicine's about. The cure. And she was, well, yeah, you might go into a little rash. That's not as bad as going for lithium shots lithium blood levels and throwing your body out, and some of these other drugs that are very toxic. Depression is to rewire this. I didn't know this until I studied it. The neuroplastic part of our brain. And it's beautiful, the new research on psychology and where we're going with it to help you. Like, the brain is very plastibic. I got a fan over there. If your full neural cortex of you playing on a piano or an instrument is fully alight, it's about the only activity that we do. And equine assisted therapy, I think that's a good therapy because it mirrors your mood. You don't know what you're doing. Your emotions are, and here's me trying to beat the horse when I haven't got any horses. I wanted to get the equine assisted therapy. I couldn't get it through Ontario. I'm going up to Ottawa and talk to them, and I'm seeing the benefits of lowering the anger in people that have got drug addictions. So the first kicker is on an addiction is the anger, and that's why you're competitively taking hard drugs. We can get that anger management lowered with equine assisted therapy. It seems to work. This is in the Department of Ontario Justice. I found the document. It's funny how I found it over there. They instead of repeat offenders, they gave them an option, and that's the way to do it. If you want to get off that endless march, go into court reoffending, which is causing a lot of problems with our services. Over there, they got a gala in Grey County, in that area, a gala program. I looked at it and I wondered how it works. We all have anger. We all have anger. It's social media and media badgering us down. And we all have it. This young man, he's about 50. I talked to him. He knew he had anger problems. I see it all the time. But he says, I want God help. Where? He went to a program for criminals or people that have offended. They said, where's your record? I don't have it, but is it free? Can I take it? Because I don't like the way I am. Anger management. So I call that type of therapy, and learning it is EI, emotional intelligence. I get angry. With a couple of things that trigger me. So I'm going to tell you, I'm not perfect. But if I get away from this sort of ideology of free market capitalism that's bothering me over here, and knowing it needs to improve, it's costing too much money to live here. I'm eating junk food. So that's not mental health. Mental health is not eating this all the time. I've been here 5 years, and that's what I'm getting into and falling. It needs to change. So mind hacking is a problem with our political system. Yeah, that's not fair. And using a Pandora's box effect of polarization. Constructive debates are done in public or maybe but you don't have people dressing up your opponent that you're debating as a clown or something and attacking. It's a constructive discourse. The psychology of looking at the other person without the bias and really just listening to them. And then your logical part of your brain might start saying, maybe they're right on that. I got listening to that type of psychology where I was going wrong. Everybody has a point of view. There might be something you could obtain, even though it is against your biases. There's some biases that are just not suited for us, and to give them up, it's hard because we have a nature of wanting to be normal. Feeling that we're right is human nature, but it's just a bad path, and it can be a bad path for the freedom of who you are. So there's certain biases we got to take out of there or really explore. Does that serve you? That bias? Where did it come from? Your parents? Well, what if we said, let's forgive your parents and thank them for that lesson, but it's not a part of what you need. Another bias I don't like is self-esteem. I don't think that's a good model. I read this all the time, self-esteem. I think self-love with loving meditation called loving kindness or metta is better because it's connecting you to want that all on everyone else. You want to be happy. You want others to be happy. So you're not alone. The problem of thinking that anything's wrong is thinking you're in this ivory tower of echo chambers and you're so self-righteous. Are you wrong? No, it's just something that's being taken in with the way the dot-com bubble started hacking us. The best thing is to, even on here, look at what really doesn't resonate with you. And if those anaerobes are coming in, clear your history. That's the best thing to do with YouTube. And get it trained to be your friend. Your dog trainer on these anaerobes. Don't let them control you. Because I hear this all the time with Gen X and C. I feel controlled. Well, who's in control? You are not in control. So you just need to know a little bit of algorithms that will correct it. I could tell you AI is a bad thing. I'll tell you, maybe the pornography of AI porno girls might not be good for it, but that's up to you to decide. But when you're searching for love, I don't think you need more than one flavor. I just call it vanilla. Find the love in it with your boyfriend or your husband. Because that's sort of caused by this world of stimulation, the attention-getting economy. Yeah, ADHD. Because you'll be going for a while and you're scrolling through ladies and you'll say, I'm bored. Because you don't know, you're aware of you scrolling through all this stuff. And you're really getting on board. And then you don't appreciate anything in your life. There is a psychology called gratitude. It's not a spiritual psychology, it's a neurological psychology. I've seen it work for people that are highly empathic or sensitive, care about other people. They're getting into a saturation of depression. I used it on one young man. I didn't tell him to get off the antidepressants. He did himself. He didn't need them then. He got back to work instead of a halfway house for a monodepressant. He was well. And it was just I told him about it, gratitude, writing journals of it. So you can see the light and love of what's good in your life. And I was so grateful that he did, because he was on his way to a happy life, making some income. And I'm pretty pleased for that. And it's probably a good job. And some people, that's another thing. We get into jobs. Do we appreciate the job? What are we learning? Well, gratitude would be a tool that you could use. And if you're grateful, you're going to work with the other people. Oh, I like this job. Um, I've worked jobs and guys are forcing themselves to, we call it brown nose. Yeah, it's to be better than the other guy, trying to be the top dog. But when we're grateful for our work, we work with the other people, and we learn a new psychology that this is a good way to be. We got a lot of enthusiasm. We work together, and we feel a part of a team. There's a psychology for business, and I don't see it in clinical psychology, unfortunately. Um, the business psychology is to eliminate the different forms of narcissism, because that's prevalent in our world with this ego gratification of social media. It's been going on a long time. And there's a lot of narcissism on both sides of the genders. I learned one type of narcissism is covert narcissism, very low key. That'll throw your job out, that'll throw your life out, your marriage, everything. You got to be careful if your husband or your wife is using narcissism. It, for sensitive people, it's very damaging. So understanding these things, I'm going to tell you something you can do yourself. I'm using an app, and I read it every day. There's about 20-minute reads, so we can digest them. It's called Blinkist, and you can get psychology in there and understand this to improve your life. We don't want a psychology that's too clinical, because clinical tends to be a political thing sometimes, gaslighting. We don't want that. We don't want a psychology that just maintains the status quo of keeping you on medication because they've labeled you and there's other cures, and that CBT, cognitive behavior, it can be used to really improve you. But if we're using it to control you, regulate these drugs over, that's not good. So you're seeing a lot of problems here. The pharmaceutical revolution was, some of it's okay. Vaccines, they don't want them. No, they're a drug, because they know this chemicals that we've been using are being toxic. And I took Ativan when I was having a hard time. I hadn't taken it for years. Holy cow, that froze me off, because I'm highly sensitive. I can feel it. I quit taking that. A lot of things that have cured me are homeopathy. That's another camp. And I had a woman in here. She's training to be a healthcare worker, mental health worker. But look at her size, and she's only in her 30s. Do I ask her? She's got bipolarity diagnosis and taking chemicals. Because what she's saying is, I don't believe in homeopathy. I don't believe in this. I don't believe in that. Well, that's not a good therapy. That's not freedom. I look at her weight, and it looks like she could be on psychotropics. They have a lot of side effects. But we have natural medicines that work. A softer shoe. I listened to True Hope. I think you could look it up. It's called True Hope Canada in Power Plus. It got me well. It got me off all those rotten medications. And how many pounds did I weigh on psychotropics? 366 pounds. And I wondered what was happening to me. It was a job burnout. It was an empathic job burnout. The information of psychiatry was not looking at me as a empathic, sensitive, reclusive man. And if we generalize reclusive, we're wiping out a whole picture of potentially powerful people that can make a better world. So I'm learning the psychology of what an empathic, sensitive, reclusive can do. They have limits. We can't go out there in the real world and absorb all this craziness around us. We have to ground ourselves. Yoga, or I do Reiki. You know, I'd rather tune people to Reiki or level 1, level even, to do self-healing every day. It would help. When you do the throat chakra, you're bringing the chakras into balance. These higher chakras and rudiment chakras, sexual impropriety, is caused by too open solar plexus. Grounding, the root chakra, and the solar plexus, and the heart. I do a lot of heart Reiki on myself all the time because the heart resonates more than the brain, about 10 times more. And I don't think therapy should interfere with anybody's traditional or spiritual beliefs. I don't think so. Get that off of there. So that's something personal, and it's something that's not good. Turning into an atheist or some sort of an ideology. Bad psychology. Good psychology will accept your basic ground. So in Reiki, we call it finding your true self. But there's many forms to get to the true self. You know, the Erickson hypnosis, the essential oils, these are all energy medicine. Shifting the brain off of things. How can I apply it? Well, you get working on a computer too long. You ever do that? You're trying to slow down that crazy mind. So I'm out in the labyrinth, or you walk and slow down the mind. And I knew this young woman. She was Asian. She's a nice girl. She's working in an office, and she comes out to try this. I said, do you know your body is mirroring your mind? Huh? Look at how fast you're walking. And I think I used the word Maya, the mind, because she was trying to turn that down. She was trying to turn that energy down. And she's all starting to slow down, breathe, and just walk. Don't race. There's no race here. This is to turn your body has to come into sync with your mind. Your mind will slow down once you slow yourself down. And, you know, the only time I saw her running was when she slowed down, finished the walk, which is about an hour. And it's a very slow, peaceful walk in a beautiful area. She ran up the trail to catch me, to thank me for that tip. And then she knew how to use the labyrinth. And I have different things like this here. If I can pick it up. These are ways to shift the mind down. Let's say you're using an essential oil. Oh, where did it go? And we sniff it, or we put a little on us. The olfactory part of our brain is an ultimate shift. Yeah, our sense. It changes our thinking. You used to put, it's a little bit less. Where did it go here? I'm on the floor here. It's a little bit. Probably went under the couch, falls down, but it's a little bit shiftier to do that. Just a little bit of snuff. No, it's just an essence of an oil. There's many oils for different things. They can be used in a situation for sleep. Lavender is a beautiful oil to put on your pillow, your sleep mask, or anything, just a few drops. It really relaxes you. If you get a therapeutic grade oil. And the crazy thing about all this is it's a vibrational energy. It's working subtly on you. I do Reiki at times and on my own self-healing. Does it take an instant hit? Sometimes it doesn't. It's already in there and it's starting to work on you. The beauty of the energy healing system is there's no diagnosis with a human folly of mistakes. It just goes where it's needed. There's a lot of myths on Reiki, and I'm trying to dispel some. I took a course and I got my money back. I said, "You're crazy. That's wrong." If I put my hands over my eyes, it's not going to hurt my glaucoma. It's improved it. She was telling that. So she was not a really well-trained Reiki practitioner. You can't really do any harm with Reiki. I can't control you. A lot of people feel that. I have a lot of hard time with some of the charlatans on here talking about meddling with energy. We're not meddling with anything. Our practice is to practice the precepts. Don't meddle on you. And that is what Miko Yushu taught, And they have to be practiced daily. And I practice daily on these, like this. And it's the vibration of those words that is working through the Reiki system. How have I used it? Well, I had a man come to me and wanted me to try Reiki on him to remove his smoking sensation. It had a double whammy on it because he changed his email address. The kind soul. He's a professional in the United States. I was doing Reiki. And I put on the paper. I just wrote down, for right now, it's like Nicorette gum, but it was without it. I Reiki'd it with an intention. And it said when he printed it out on his printer, it said, he pulled out of his pocket, "I will not need to smoke at this moment." And the energy was there to work on him. So he got off. But the side effect was finding his true self. That's what I love about the system, the true self. But am I against yoga? No. Yin yoga is positive. Kundalini yoga. But here's what I feel about Kundalini. It can get out of control. Your chakras need to be leveled out. So you do Kundalini yoga, and you can go, doctors will tell you can go whacked out. Or are you? It's like getting off social media. Do I need fixed? Do you feel peace? I've never experienced this before. Welcome. You're home. You'll notice that. And that needs constant journaling. I love journaling and keeping up and seeing how things are working for you. So I've learned all these techniques and I'm continuing to learn. I use crystal healing too. So I've bought into a company that's international. I can drop ship those crystals. What about tuning them, Greg? I can do them distance. Because I'm a Kundalini and I'm a Reiki master and Chi-ball and just send it to the crystal. So drop shipment is comes to the warehouse and you got the crystal and I just put the energy in. And know what the energy is? It's not my intention. I just pick up on what you need. I connect on an energetic level what you need. And I send it that way. I've come through a lot with this sort of system. I'm not a one-trick pony therapist. I use cognitive behavioral therapy, neuro-linguistic therapy, anything that would help you shift to a positive state. But it's good to have it in combinations. Try this. Do you want to try this? No, I don't like Reiki. It might be controlling. Oh, we'll try something else. Because I know the way the social media's demonized some things. We got a few charlatans out there saying things. And I'll tell you, any therapist is getting too technical. They'll confuse you. That you don't want it too technical. You don't want them putting it into psychobabble. I had that a few times when I was going to see a therapist. And I said, do you really know what you're talking about? What do you mean? Well, I watched Seinfeld last night. You must have watched it too. Because you're talking about cognitive behavioral therapy and going yada, yada, yada. So it got me into studying this stuff. What is this cognitive behavioral therapy? I don't use yada, yada, yada. Then I asked her, have you ever understood Jung? No, I failed that. Oh. It's good to understand what Jungian psychology is. It's good to have a little bit of Gestalt, Jungian, Buddhist psychology, all mixed there to bring in some common sense. I didn't like the Freudian method because of the Freudian slip. Jung was the one that really got away from that. And he was analytical and he was looking at archetypes. So what's an archetype? Oh, hell. What if I use these are archetypes. They're, you might call it voodoo, but they're an archetypical representation that is drawn from the universal life force energy of the world. And the archetype might be shuffle deck. Tarot cards are different. Oracle cards are the archetype. See that flipped on me. There's a reason for that. So there's the archetype there, the door of value. You know, that is now. That's for right now. We know we got to measure value in our life. That's an archetype. And that is, I think, for right now, values. Economics of value. To measure reasoning. To measure what's right for us. Our marriage or our relationships are value. Knowing ourselves is value. Being happy and knowing how to be happy is the foundation of knowing you. So we call it know thyself. That's the true liberation. We've been told everything, this is freedom, this is freedom. You look at what they call freedom. Kim North Korea, I want to be free. Well, I hear this freedom stuff. Now it's getting into attacking police, and you don't know what you don't like it for, really. But you go on Facebook or anything, and they got another rule book. So they don't even think that's their frustration. They're not worthy of being on. You'll just be frustrated using social media. But it's not to give up media. It's know to discern what is good media. It isn't influenced by and is right. We got to weed out the bad media, the sensationalism, and just see what factual information is. And you know what that is? That's your feelings. If it doesn't give you peace, throw it out. And that's the way I do everything. And I feel things. Throw it out. It's not going to be good. And I'm usually quite right about it. Is this clinical psychology? No. This is just psychology to help you through things. Is there any, mainstream psychology, and can have distorted facts because it could be controlled by the what's happening in our world right now. There isn't for the benefit of civil society. There's a revolution, but it's a silent revolution of finding yourself. You don't have to go out and do anything else. Henry David Thoreau came out with, don't cross your arms here, came out with civil disobedience. Now, that's not breaking the law. That's the art of boycott. You don't want those products, don't buy them. You got an ethics that they're tested on animals, don't buy them. You think they're bad for the planet, don't buy them. You have control over what you feels right. It's ethics. Your ethics is to find your foundation of who you are, not go out and force it on people, but do it. Live your life by what you believe in. If you want to reduce carbon, you have quite a lot of freedom to do that. There's books out there I could guide you to it. You want to be a vegan, vegetarian, you're free to do that. There's a lot of good books on it. The force systems are not good. PETA's a little bit extreme, so we don't. It's in an echo chamber, and I've talked to them. Try to calm them down. I'm not against veganism. I'm against anything that pushes people away from it. That's not the intention. I'm not going to go out there and tell a woman to quit smoking. She has free will. Yeah, I never do these things. I don't go out and tell you you're too fat, you won't lose weight. That was the psychology of counterintuitive. We use positive affirmations. And you've got to make the decision if you're fat. Nobody is going to tell you. And that's the psychology of free will. Because I've seen that psychology go bad. My mother used to go to Weight Watchers. And no matter how she tried to lose weight, because it wasn't positive, she took a piggy home. We knew she was getting into the fridge, and it was going oink, oink, oink. And it's the psychology of what a whisperer said, horse whisperer. I can take that to your throat. You'll do it, but you won't do it well anyway. I can tell you to make your bed. It might be a start point, but I don't think that's for everyone. Some people don't make their bed, they need a housekeeper. I'm a musician and I'm very untidy. I try to do the best I can. I'm getting older too, so I don't go into the generalization, clean your room and do your bed. I fire people like that. That's why I'm moving out of here. I'll live in a hotel on the road and make money. And I'll help people. I want a house cleaner. You know, they got me well I fell on the floor for 3 days because I had compound PTSD. I had to learn that I was using a very powerful energy called Kundalini Reiki, but the energy stuck in the room and I had total recall. So I had a lockdown. I was on the floor 3 days. 3 days, and I ended up in the hospital because I was covered in my own, and I had influenza A variants, influenza. I was very sick. So it's like Madame Makata. She learned a lot of things. Changed the Reiki system a bit. She took notes. Well, the Kundalini Reiki system is new. So I've been taking notes. And I think it's a good system. But the problem is, all that energy and all that trauma forms into a silver chi ball. Wham! It hit me like a ton of bricks. Total recall. Like your life is right in 1%. It knocked me back. So I needed to clear it or put it into send it off. I didn't. So I'm going to write that on Kundalini and Kundalini Reiki. I've been using many forms of Kundalini Reiki, Grand Master level. There's very deep symbolisms. I use Krunaki, and it has a lot of symbols. It's got about 22. The Yushu, has couple. Yeah, the level 2 you got 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 symbols. It's not hard to memorize. So you start doing distance healing. You start healing others. You can send Reiki to the past and the future. This is non-linear. And it fits the quantum time-space continuum. Yeah, it's a co-location to it. So that's level 2. So I got re-certified in teaching Reiki. My teacher taught me the 3 levels of attunements. I thought maybe that may be all right. It seemed to work for a while. I had all the Reiki and I had to practice it. But I came to another conclusion by another teacher. Oh, we give you level 2, right up to level 2, to do the 2 attunements. And then you work on self-healing for a while. When you're ready, and you've done it with the level 1, you're already attuned to level 2, so we teach you to resonate with those symbols. And then if you want to go on to the Reiki master level, you teach it. But I see a lot of people, and I have a problem. You need the self-practice. It's like anything. The piano doesn't play itself. You need at least 1 or 2 self-healings a day. How long? You'll know. You'll notice changes in yourself. So there's nothing wrong with that. So that's what I do. And then I do anything. Sometimes we get really upset and we can't practice Reiki. So this tapping works. I teach dowsing, the pendulum dowsing. I'm going to get certified to teach it. I'm finishing courses. It's good. I can lay out all those cards there. And pendulum does. Ask questions because it's resonating with your body. You can learn to not even use the pendulum after a while. I feel. Hey, so I'm on the second floor. Yeah, I'm on the second floor. But does that mean I can't get grounded? Well, the meditation is to have your feet on the ground, and feel the energy of your roots going down into the earth. I don't have to be outside. It goes right down through the 2 floors. That's one of the practices we do. I don't like the second floor, but too close to the car traffic here. I got problems. I don't like noise. I'm very sensitive. So they don't understand why I'm leaving. And not every city has so much traffic. There's, I thought that suburbia is not so bad. But this is bad here. This isn't a big town. I've been all over Canada. Cities have traffic calming, and they're quite nice. And you got community. Yeah, there is a problem with loneliness. But it's the belief that you're not lonely. With so many people online, you think they're all your friends. They don't have to be your friends. They can be putting clicks in there and getting you hooked. Unfortunately, that's the reality. I can come on anything and they'll be, oh, wow, I'm famous. But yeah, it can be distorted information. Because the idea is to get you hooked into self-likes. The trick is to learn to be grateful for who you are and attack top artists and musicians to your retreat or anything like that. Now, what am I feeling? I just feeling energetic drain just now, so I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna buy some tourmaline and hematite to block this feeling of drain on social lines. Live streaming. You have a great day, and thank you.